In this video, we will learn how we can apply different types of count functions in DAX. There are various types of count functions in DAX and their applications are different. So let's learn that. Here we have our data and we have a row number column. So this is number of rows, like the index of the rows. So we have 10 rows of data. Then we have customer ID. We have name of the customer. Name has blank values. So we can see that there are 3 blank values in the name column. Similarly, we have gender column, and in gender column, we have 6 blank values and 4 non-blank values. We have date of birth column. Here we have null values, and we have 7 null values and 3 non-null values. The difference between null values and blank values is that null means that there is no data. Data is missing, whereas blank means that there is empty string. There is data, maybe you deleted it later. Basically, it represents an empty string. Okay. Then you have this last column, which is a Boolean type column having true false value. Here in Power BI Desktop, we've created a visual table visual for these columns. So I have indicated here which column has blank values, which column has null values. Now let's apply different types of count function on this. So we've created a measure over here. This is a simple measure using the count function. So the first function is count function. It counts the non-null values in your data. Okay. So if you count, let's say we have applied count based on the row number, we get the output as 10. If we apply count based on the customer ID column, then it will give a result of 10 because there are 10 values. If we apply it on the name column, we get the output as 10. So why did we get 10? We have 7 values over here, but then we have 3 blank values. Blank means empty string, and count counts all those empty string as a text field. So it will count all the 10 values and it will give 10 as the output. If I apply it on date of birth column, it will give the result as 3. Since date of birth column has null values, it means that those data is missing. So it does not count those missing data. Okay, so the count function excludes the null rows. If we once again apply it on the gender, which has the blank values, it will once again count all the rows. So it will give the output as 10. If we apply it on the Boolean data type has children column, it does not give any result. It says that this function cannot be applied on this data type. Okay, so we cannot use count function for the Boolean data type. So for this purpose, we have another function called count A. Count A. Now count A works similar to how count function works. So if we apply it on the name column, for example, it will give the same output. It will give the output as 10, right? Because it counts the blank values. If we apply it on the date of birth, it'll give the count as 3. So it excludes the null values too. But if we apply it on the has children column, here it works and it gives us the result. So count A function can be used over the Boolean data type too. If you need to simply count how many null values or the blank values are there in your data, then you can use a function called count blank. Count blank. Count blank counts the null values or the blank values in your data. So once again, if we apply it on the name column, for example, name column has 3 blank values. So it gives the return as 3. If we apply it on date of birth, it has 7 null values. So it gives us the count as 7. If we apply it on gender, it'll give the output as 6 once again. So count blank would work on either null values or blank values, and it will return how many are those, how many rows of such values are there. If we need to count the distinct values from our data, then we can use distinct count. Distinct count. Distinct count lets you count the distinct values. So if you apply it on the row number, we get 10 values because there are 10 distinct values here. If we apply it on customer ID, we get 7 values because there are duplicates over here, 101 being repeated twice, 106 being repeated twice, 107 being repeated twice. That's why it counts the distinct values from this column and gives 7 as the answer. Then if we apply it on date of birth column, once again, it will do the distinct count. But if you see in the distinct count, it has also counted null value over here. Date of birth has only 3 values and then rest are null. So it also counts the null values when it is counting the distinct values. It will count null as well as it will count the blank. For example, if I apply it on the name, we have 7 values and then 3 blank values. So it will count one of the 3 blank values as well. So 7 plus 1, it will give the count as 8. Okay. If we have to count, if we have to do a distinct count on the Boolean data type, it'll give us the value. So it works on the Boolean data type as well. So there are 2 values, one true, false. Okay. If we have to count values based on certain filter condition or based on certain expression, we do not simply want to count the column, then you can use COUNTX function. So COUNTX function just counts the any table columns or expression. So let's say here I need to count just the, let's say the customer ID. Okay. So customer ID, if I need to count it similar to how a count function would work, you can give the table as here I'm looking at customer table. And my expression is just the column that I want to count, which is customer ID, correct? So it will go through this table and it will count the customer IDs from it, correct? So this works similar to how a count function would work if you insert just the customer ID. But here with the X, you can provide some expression while counting, right? So for example, you can put, let's say, count of customer ID plus row number, then it'll give you one expression as the output and you can take account of that. Or you can apply a filter on this table. What you apply, let's say I only want to count the customers where the name is non-blank. Okay, where the name is non-blank. So on this table where you are the table part, you apply a filter function to filter the table. Okay, so you apply a filter. So in filter also you need to specify a table and then what filter you want to apply. So here once again, I want to apply it on the customer table. And my filter expression is that the of name column in the customer should not be blank. So just give it is not blank. Blank means empty string. So when the customer is non-blank, that becomes your table on which the next expression would be evaluated. And now I want to evaluate the customer ID column. Okay. So this will give me 7. So it has taken the table, it has filtered the table only for these 7 rows, and then it counted the customers for this. So that's how COUNTX function works. Then you also have COUNTAX function. COUNTAX works similar to applying this um, X feature to the count A function, right? So the only difference is that it would work on the Boolean data type. Okay. So just to recap on what we learned, we have a count function. Count function counts all non-null values in a column, but it does not support Boolean data type. It will give you an error. Count A function also counts all the non-null values in a column, but it also supports the Boolean data type. Count blank function counts the null or the blank values in a column. If you want to count distinct values, you use distinct count function. Distinct count counts the number of distinct values in a column, and it includes the null or blank while counting the distinct values. COUNTX function counts the non-null values when evaluating an expression over a table. You can apply a filter condition on the table, or you can modify the column into an expression and take account of that. COUNTX doesn't support the Boolean data type, but COUNTAX supports the Boolean data type. So these are all the different count functions that you can use. I hope that this was helpful to you. See you in the next video. Thank you.